What's up? What's up? Oh man. What's happening? Sandra. Sandra, you didn't go to church today? Huh? You didn't go to church today, Sandra? How come you're not at church, Sandra? Huh? Javen, what's happening, family? I love those songs, family. I love those songs, brother. Those songs are off the hook. The vibe. You definitely need to do a video on that one, Unfair. That Unfair is nice. Urban Media. Happy Sunday, you guys. Malara. Happy Sunday, you guys. What's the word? What's the word? Jabin, yeah, that song is off the hook. That Fair, man, let me tell you something. I'm telling you what I know. That Fair song, I know y'all probably waiting for me to do this interview. I'm gonna talk to you about that because it's still going down. It's 3 p.m. in your city. You in New Jersey. You're in Jersey, so you're like 3 hours ahead in Jersey. She's in Jersey. Sandra, are you in Jersey, right? Are you in New York? You're in Jersey. Bridget, hi, Bridget. Listen, let me tell you. Javon, I'm going to be honest with you, man. That song, if you shoot the right video with that song will blow up. It'll go viral. Man, what happened to my computer? What? I don't know. My computer just did something crazy. That song, if you do the right music video to that, trust me when I tell you, that song is a smash. You got to smash, bro. Because the concept of that song, Unfair, the things you're talking about, the young generation will relate to that. You got one. The other ones are great too. But I'm telling you that one, it's a smash, bro. You need to try to do. You don't have to have an expensive video. You can do an all green screen video, something simple. Computer because of a problem. I don't know why it did that, but report the problem. Let's report that. Listen, Javen, that song is a smash. Javen said, the crazy thing is when people hear that song, they go crazy from, yeah, but I'll tell you, okay, adults will be able to relate it to it too, but the adults ain't buying records like these kids are. They're not. But these kids, that song's a smash, bro. That song will do really well. You should really consider pushing that song and really doing a cool, simple video, nothing too over the top, but describing all the elements in that song. You know what I'm saying? When you talk about the cat smoking a little something, it's, you know, staying home, rather stay home and smoke instead of being out and getting caught up. All those things, people can relate to that. The younger generation, you know what I'm saying? And being caught up, being locked up, and, you know, the job situations, how things are unfair. That's really how people think. And a lot of times the younger generation don't have a solution. I always say, what good is a problem if you don't have a solution to the problem? But that song is a good conscious song that'll make people come up with solutions. Like, okay, I got this problem, but let me come up with the solution. You feel what I'm saying? And your song makes a person, I'm talking about Javen, you guys. He sent me this song. Javen on here sent me this song. Javen Music sent me this song that's real cool. It's called Unfair. But it'll make the younger generation, the older generation, we know what's up, right? Sometimes we need to hear certain things to keep us on track, but we know pretty much what's up. But that younger generation, they would hear that song, bro, and it'll definitely inspire them to come up with a solution for their problem. So really it's an inspirational song, even though it can be taken anyway, but it's more of an inspirational song because you basically telling them life is unfair. But at the end of the day, it's like, what's the solution to the problem? What good is it to have a problem and there's no solution? Yeah, whenever he puts it out, Sanja. Shoddy bite, black fatigue. What's happening? Yeah, get those likes. So what do you mean, Shoddy? Black fatigue. What's up, family? What does that mean? I mean, I just like to be clear when people leave comments. Javen said, that gives me so much inspiration. I don't mind if you let them hear. That's okay with me. Yeah, I don't have it set up for them to hear it, but I will. But it's a great song. I'll play it. I don't have my Western name set up to do it, but yeah, I'll do it. Sergeant Charge, nice silver jewelry stone. Yeah, I'm big on my silver. Like I'm a jewelry person. I got so much jewelry, man, with the silver because I collect a lot of silver through the years. So I'm all about the silver jewelry. I got some really nice silver rings. Sergeant Charge in the house. Bridget said, that is an insult. They are tired of black people, Stone. Oh, really? Hold on. Why you block? Give me a chance to address these people sometimes, you guys. Don't block it so quick. Give me a chance. Certain ones. If I say, what does that mean? If I'm asking, what does that mean? If y'all hear me asking that, Mystique, give me a chance to let them respond. Now, I know what fatigue means, but young people use words in different ways. So I wanted to be clear what that person was saying. I was trying to, Mystique, let them give me what they mean before you just block them. Because I want to give them a chance to see what they're talking about. Somebody said, don't worry about the haters. Probably, yeah, whoever that person is, definitely hide that. These are young kids. Anytime they come in really whack comments, I know they're kids. Somebody else left a comment too. Time says, Stone and chat family. Hope everybody's having a peaceful Zen Sunday today. Stay consistent, healthy, and never lose faith in the Lord and especially in yourself. Thank you. Thank you, Time. I appreciate that, brother. Never lose faith. And that's something we will not do. We appreciate you coming in here, holding us down with that. What is your favorite white girl? Give me a chance to answer that, y'all. Are you a comedian? Whoever you are, you just go by the name N. Are you a comedian or something? I mean, I don't get it. I don't get your point. I think it's a corny joke. And so I'm going to delete I'm not going to block you, but I'm going to delete your corny comment until you come in here with a comment that makes sense. That don't make no sense. What is your favorite white girl song? Like, that's some corny shit. You ain't even got no shit that makes sense. That's just corny. I'm sure you got school tomorrow, so shouldn't you be doing your homework? Waleed Akeem said, what's up, Waleed? What's happening, family? Huge Jazz says, I'm 35. Welcome to the channel, Huge. Welcome to the channel, man. We have very solid conversations here, man. Really, really good people here. Urban Media says opinions matter as long as they are respectful. Absolutely, Urban Media. Long as the opinions are respectful, we don't mind. Ulysses, whoever you are, go fuck yourself. That's what I'm going to say to you. Because I don't know who you are. Go fuck yourself. And if Stone owed you anything and you haven't been paid, nigga, that's because you owed me something, you dumb fuck you. Whoever you are. Obviously, you don't know me. Because if you knew me, you'd have my number and you wouldn't be on here trying to be a troll. Fuck yourself. And I'll say it again. Excuse me, this is Sunday. This is Jesus Day. Every day is Jesus Day. But I'll say to you, Ulysses, go fuck yourself, you dumbass. Now you gets the block, you dumbass. Call me. If you got something to say and you really know me, call my phone, dumbass. Stupid motherfucker, you. Sorry, you guys. Every once in a while, I got to do that. And here's this idiot with the favorite white girl song again. Like, dude, stop sending me that stupid stuff. Favorite white girl song. They ain't even making no sense. You're trolling and you're being a whack comedian. Laverne, what's happening, family? Yeah, Javon, it's weird. It's way corny. Brian Price said, "Who did you vote for?" Brian, I voted for Jesus. The Almighty. That's who I voted for. Kim Patrick said, "All I want to know is, do you think the music industry will allow a song that's positive? I'm just asking, considering the music we hear today, not being disrespectful in any way, I respect you." Kim Patrick, all my music is positive, and I've had 47 charting records. I mean, they do push the narrative of negative music. I do agree with you on that, but all my music is positive, and I mean, it charts, and my fans across the world love it, and I have no issues with being positive. None of my music is negative. I've never spoken a negative word in none of my records. So yes, it can be positivity in the music industry. Now, you might not be the popular go listen to immediately because of that reason, but believe me, there's a fan base for positive people and positive music, and people are now wanting to hear more positive music these days. People are tired of hearing all the negative now. Laverne said, "Well, so today I am on here because I was supposed to interview Gene Anderson, AKA they call him Poo Poo Man from the Parliament Funkadelic. He was Red Fox from the Sanford and Son show. He was his first artist. I suppose I had picked him up at 12, but he called me because he wasn't ready. So I'm still going to pick him up. Now, here's what I'm thinking about doing. I'm thinking about splitting my interview into two halves. I might not do it live. I might do a pre-recorded because this man he's a history book. And he's connected to Sonny Liston and Muhammad Ali and Red Fox and Sinatra and all of them. So I can't just have him on a live and get everything out. I might have to split this interview into two parts, which means that, and he's older. So, I want him to be here. We don't want him to go anywhere, but things have been crazy with a lot of our celebrities and entertainers these days. And I have made mistakes when I should get people on my channel and interview them, and I've not done that. And I don't want to make that mistake again. I want to make sure that I get people on the channel when I need to get them on the channel and interview them. So he's one of them. He's older, but when I tell you he's a history book, he's one of those ones where you got to get an interview from him because he has worked and toured and been with everybody. He was part of starting hip hop. Yes, I said it. He was one of the pioneers of the beginning of hip hop. So this is not a normal interview. So I have to be very careful with how I deal with him and getting the information and getting it at the time I need to. So I'm being patient. So as I'm waiting for him to call me back, I'm talking to you guys, and then I'm going to go and pick him up. I chose to pick him up to make sure that he gets here because he's older, and he hasn't been sounding the way I'm used to hearing him sound on the phone. Usually he's excited, you know what I'm saying? He's usually pumped up, but he's been kind of real quiet spoken. And if anybody knows him, they'll tell you he's always excited. But lately he's been real kind of quiet, and I'm listening to his voice and I started to worry. I said, let me get these interviews out of him to make sure that I get these interviews out of him, right? Because he's a time capsule. He's a time capsule, you guys. And whenever you're dealing with that, you have to make sure that you get these interviews from people. You just don't get interviews like this every day. And I'm honored that I can get these kind of interviews and deal with people like this. You know what I'm saying? And for the people that come on my live saying stupid stuff like you know me, if you know me, pick up the phone and call me. And I'm just going to say that. Because if you really know me, you won't be on this live talking. Anybody that knows me has my number. Anybody that knows me knows that they can reach out and call me. So that's how I know this is all trolls. And whoever acts like they know me on here and be saying stupid stuff, you can't know me, because anybody that really knows me have my phone number. And they'll tell you that. So no, you don't know me. And anybody commenting in here like you know me, you don't know me. You just want people to think you know me, but you don't know me. That's a fact. So stop pretending. Stop pretending like you know me. Now, if you want to get to know me, you're more than welcome. Matter of fact, email me. If you got it, if you got to talk to me and you don't have my number, email me. My moderators put the number on there. Email me so I can cuss your ass out in the email too. Do that. Let's do it. You must think that Stone is a weak person because of, I don't know what reason you would think it, but whatever reason, I would love to meet you, head-to-head conversation. Whatever you got to say, you say it and I say it. But don't get on my live acting like you know me, when in reality, you don't. Because anybody that sees me on my live that knows me calls me up. So don't think you're tricky and you think you can make people think you know me. You don't know me. You don't. Simple as that. So stop the cap, as the young folks say. Now, let's get back to what I was talking about. So Gene Anderson is a music industry veteran. He's a historian of the music industry, from hip hop to funk. Not former member of the parliament, because he's still a member of the parliament, Funkadelics. And he's an incredible guy. When you hear the stuff he talks about, I'm probably not even gonna have to say much. All I got to do is hit record. When he starts talking, it's a history book. So I'm honored to be able to have him and on here and interview him along with all the other people that I'm going to be interviewing. Bo Barrington from the Temptations. I'm not just interviewing all the young cats in hip hop. That's cool. I can get them if I want. I want to interview the legends. I want to interview the people that made music what it is now and why people are going back sampling all the old shit. Those are the people that I want to interview. I don't care about interviewing all this young shit that's happening. There's nothing wrong with it, but the young folks are still learning. There's nothing what can they say? What can they teach the future generation if they're speaking negative on records? There's nothing to teach. I want to interview people that can teach and that have taught and that have changed history. That's what I want to do. I want to interview people that can change history and that have made history, that can teach the future generations. So thus the reason I choose to interview our OGs. Those are the ones that I will continue to interview. And maybe every once in a while, I might bring a young, industry rapper on and interview him and ask him questions that nobody is asking. But here you got to think about this. In the Black community, and in every community, in every race and culture, the only way to keep people understanding history is to let the people that have lived the history tell their story while they are here. So when I bring him on the channel, it's me allowing him to tell his story, right? So that you guys can connect the dots to certain things you might not have known. If African Americans don't tell their history with music and science and education, then who's going to tell the story? Somebody's going to make the stories up and then change them and lie about the stories. Bridget says, Stone, have you heard the song R. Kelly tribute to Malcolm Jamal Warner? Yeah, I did. It's beautiful. J Bond said the trolls come out early, don't they? Usually the trolls, it's weird, Javen, they usually don't come out until late at night, but on Saturday night, I think some of the trolls stay up and they're still up right now. Or they maybe was on an acid trip and they still up. And Do right by Jesus. Hey, do right by Jesus. All right now, Stone. Voted for, yep, I voted for Jesus. I don't even know why somebody would come on here and ask me who I voted for. Anthony said, I need someone to help me stand up right now in the name of Jesus. I need someone to help me stand up right now. Anthony, if you believe in Jesus, then stand the fuck up. I'm just saying. Scorpio, thank you, Scorpio, for the donation. Scorpio's back, you guys. You know, Scorpio's been on vacation. Now, Scorpio, let me get into talking about Scorpio because she probably tired of me talking about it. She's like, this boy always talking about me. Scorpio is one of my biggest channel donators, you guys, and I have to continue to thank her and my moderators because they actually hold my channel down. Other than that, I'll be on here like you know, Sir Willie D. I noticed Mr. Willie D. He moderates. All right, I'm sorry, you guys. I'm back. People just keep calling me. I don't know. Anyway, Willie D. I noticed that Willie D. moderates his own channel. He doesn't have any moderators, and I thought about doing that too. I said, man, maybe I'll just moderate my own channel. But it's something special about having moderators, especially ones you know. Like I know Mystique. CC is such an awesome person. Um, all I can say is awesome things. And then you add Scorpio to the equation. So you got great moderators and you got great support. And all you other guys that fill in the blanks, believe me, I'm not abusing or abandoning you guys. I appreciate you too. But Scorpio holds the channel down. She's always donating. And that keeps the channel going, you guys, because I get on here and share this information and take away from working, from all the projects that I am currently working on. So I appreciate Scorpio. She said, Mr. Paxton, much love at Sophia of aka Cambodia Mystique, and Cece when she gets here. Beautiful people in chat. Thank you, Scorpio, always. It's always a pleasure to have you here. I know you're always busy with your family. We're sending blessings and love to your family. And I just know that vacation was outstanding and you deserve it. You're a hardworking person. So thank you for always holding us down. Hi, Victory. Hey, Elizabeth. Yeah, my moderators are amazing. I'm just saying they are. They just, you know, they are, man. They're just amazing, you guys. But look, to the person that said, I need help to stand up. If you believe in Jesus, stand your ass up. That's all I'm going to say. Because if you believe in Jesus and you believe in God, you understand to apply faith. And if you believe in all that, stand your ass up. Just get up, stand up, have faith, get up. Or get off my page playing games. Because see, you ain't just playing with me, you playing with God. Okay, so you can play them games if you want. Okay, now if you're being serious, if you need help, call 911, motherfucker. But don't get on my channel talking about I need help. And using Jesus' name, talking about standing up. Stand your ass up if you believe in Jesus. He heals all. Javen said, your moderators are beautiful people who do your channel a lot of just, yes, they do. They do. Now, understand, I want all those that are deciding to possibly start a YouTube channel. Let me tell you some of the shit. This is just a random conversation that you're going to have to deal with. People ask me, how do I deal with the trolls? And I don't call them haters. I just call them all trolls. But some people ask me, how do I deal with it? Well, one thing you got to understand, I think the music industry prepared me for that. The music industry, because we dealt with real live trolls in person. So when you deal with a troll that you don't see, is nothing. You don't even see them. You don't know who they are. They're hiding behind a computer. So nobody should ever allow themselves to get bent out of shape over an idiot behind a computer screen that doesn't even show their face. Now, if they're willing to go live with me on here one-on-one, we can do it. Let's go live. Let me see your face. I'm live. But when you hide behind a computer, that shows a sign of weakness. You hide behind a computer and you talk shit. That just shows that you're a weak motherfucker in real reality. Because real men just deal with whatever they got to deal with head on, win or lose. Win or lose conversation, win or lose hand-to-hand combat. Real men will face you face to face. Cowards will hide behind a computer. So every troll that we see is a coward in disguise. That's why they don't put their picture. Most of them don't put their picture on their channel. Now, not all people that don't have their picture are trolls. I'm not going to say that because there's some people that's come to my channel that have not been trolls that don't have their picture, but they've been very respectful. So trolls don't bother me. Now, I will be honest. In the very beginning, because my YouTube was not used to go back and forth with people. My YouTube is a music channel. I do music for a living. I don't do anything else. Music is what I do. So in the beginning, I felt some kind of way about people attacking me on YouTube. And for a minute, I was going in because I didn't get the logistics to it yet. But now I figured out the logistics. I don't even let that shit bother me. I'll say what I have to say and we'll block them and keep it moving. Because they're the ones that have to sit behind their computers and look like dummies when they're blocked. Trolls are going to be trolls. If you're going to think about starting a YouTube channel, be prepared. And me and a friend of mine who's a celebrity just got through having this conversation the other day. Him and I talked, and I was trying to convince him to start his YouTube channel. Like, man, you need to come on, man. Like, you need to come on. He was like, nah, Stone, because I see what you went through. I see what you went through, and I'm not trying to deal with all that bullshit. So it is an element of sacrifice you make for being on YouTube, and that is you're going to deal with some of the trolls, you guys. They're going to come. It doesn't matter if your channel is very, very positive, and it does not even matter if your channel is very, very negative. They coming because they ain't got shit else to do. They living at home with their mamas, and some of them, if they ain't living at home with their mamas, they ain't got a girlfriend or boyfriend, and they ain't got shit else to do but fuck with other people. So understand, it comes with the territory. Don't take it personal. Learn how to deal with it. Learn how to deal with them when they come into your live. And then it just kind of gets smoother because you don't take it personal. Don't take it personal because I had to tell myself, Stone, you don't even know these idiots. You don't know the trolls. You don't know what they look like. Do you guys understand how weird it is for people to see you? It's like one time I had somebody years ago, I was living in Southern Highlands in Las Vegas. And if those that live in Vegas know what I'm saying. So I had a performance. I went to perform, me and my band. Somebody was watching, obviously, my house. And at that time, I didn't have cameras and no dog or nothing, right? As soon as I left, they broke in my house and they took everything. There was a camera that I had. And to this day, they got that camera. And all I wanted back was my footage. I wish that these people would have at least given me that camera back because some stuff you can never get back. It was me, and we had John Cougar Mellencamp's drummer who played behind me at the Whiskey A Go-Go. I got all kinds of celebrities on this video. I got me and my band. At that time, we all drove in this Alero. I kid you not. It was probably like, oh my God. I'm not even making this up. If any of the guys in my band at that time are on this live, please comment. There was about 6 or 7 of us. We were in an Alero. We looked like, you ever seen the circus when they have all them guys get out the clown car? And we had our gear, guitars, bass, I think a couple amps in the trunk. And we were in an Alero going to LA because when I booked the tour bus, this is the first time I booked the tour bus, it didn't show up. The second time I booked it, they didn't show up when I had my band too. We had a show at the Queen Mary in Long Beach. The tour bus never showed up to my front door. I don't know what happened. So we packed in an Alero, you guys. And this was a moment, if you had seen it on camera, you would have been blown away because the shit was actually funny. But by any means necessary, I made that show at me and my band at the Whiskey A Go-Go. So we get there, and John Cougar Mellencamp's drummer, I think John Cougar Mellencamp's drummer, damn, was it John Cougar? It was somebody very big. I think it was John Cougar Mellencamp's people calling me while I'm on my live. It's so freaking annoying. There you go, you guys. Scorpio have given you guys free memberships. Better grab them free memberships, y'all, because a lot of cool stuff come with those memberships. So we're rehearsing because my drummer at the last minute pulled out from Vegas, and we were distraught. I didn't know what to do. I'm like, this is the Whiskey A Go-Go. And for those of you artists that don't understand the level of, I want you to go look up the Whiskey A Go-Go in LA. The Whiskey a Go-Go. Legendary venue. The Beatles performed there, the Doors, Ozzy Osbourne, you name it. They performed there. So to be able to be invited on that stage, I performed on that stage twice. Once with Marvin King and once with me and my band. So I knew that I couldn't mess up this opportunity, you guys. So we packed up in that little Alero and we made our asses to LA, only to get there, people calling me. Even when I do the do not disturb, somehow the call still comes through. Anyway, let's get back on it. So we make our way to LA, only to get there for my drummer to say that he wasn't able to make, he's not gonna make it. We thought he was on his way. So then we're running around the Whiskey A Go-Go. Mind you, it's packed. Ozzy Osbourne was there no, not Ozzy. Gene Simmons was there that night. Oh my God, everybody was there. Everybody saw me perform that. Gene Simmons, I mean, you name it, everybody and their mama was at the Whiskey. So I was scared. Now, my music director, Lonnie Motley, who's like my big brother, I call him my big brother. He's like my big brother. He's from the Parliament also. He was running around and grab those memberships, Scorpio just gifted you guys. For those of you that are not members, grab those memberships. Especially if you ain't paid for one, she's giving you a free one. That's love. Scorpio does this all the time. Y'all see what I'm saying? So they're running around. They're running around. And John Cougar Mellencamp's drummer, I can't remember his name. I'll get the name from my music director. But this guy's big time. He says, I'll play the drums. I'll play for you guys. I know funk. I know funk. And we look at him and laugh, right? But hell, who knows, right? He has been playing for legendary artists and other artists for years. So they went out to the car and he listened to, and I got all this on camera. He's sitting in the car. He's listening to the groove. This song I got called, it's on YouTube. It's called, nothing to you. All right. Damn, I can't remember what it's called. Into You. It's on YouTube. Type in Stone Paxton Whiskey A Go-Go performance. You'll see it. A Stone Paxton live at the Whiskey A Go-Go. But he said he could do it. But I think they wanted to hear him do it. I think he got on the drums or something. He couldn't play the shit. And so Lonnie was distraught. So they end up calling Mark Baker. Now, Mark Baker is, at that time, I don't know if he's still playing with A. Marie, but you remember the R&B singer A. Marie? Mark Baker was A. Marie's drummer. So they called Mark up. He showed up immediately. No rehearsal. Mark had never rehearsed with us. And when I tell you we hit the stage with no rehearsals with Mark, now the rest of us had rehearsed, but Mark, the drummer, had not rehearsed with us. But Mark got right up there and played it like he had been with us for 10 years, you guys. And I had all that stuff on video that whole day. That was a very special moment for me. And when they broke in my house, I didn't care about them taking the equipment. I kind of did. Stop lying, Stone. I did. I was upset at that time. But that camera was sentimental because I can't, some motherfucker got my camera sitting in their house with that video footage, and all I wanted was that they might have recorded over it. Stuff like that you can't replace. And it pisses me off when I think about it. But let me tell you a story about the equipment. So I remember when I came home, everything was gone. My mixing console, all that. I mean, I don't know how in the hell they got all that out the house, but they did. I felt like I lost my girlfriend, y'all. I was crying like I lost a girlfriend. It hit me that hard. And then something said, it's okay, Stone. So I say to the police, I said, you know what? It's okay. I said the strangest thing in the world. I said, I might not get my equipment back, but I'm going to find out who took it. Had no idea that those words would be so prophetic. 2.5 weeks to the time that my equipment was taken, I got led right to the front door of the place that had my equipment. And can you guys believe it was an insurance company? I had my pew pew with me. I talked to Corrupt's cousin. He's passed away now. His name is Dice. He called me. He said, I got like 10 dudes, man. We're going to meet you. I even talked to the police. I said, I know where my equipment is. Initially, the police was going to go over there and meet me there. They called me back and they tell me they can't go. Now, I found it online on Craigslist. This particular equipment, I was the only one in Vegas to have it. Because when I buy a lot of stuff, usually I'm the first one to get it. So the combination, what they did was they put the combination of all this gear together is how I knew it was mine. Because they put it all together, and there's no way somebody in Vegas would have the exact combination of certain things that it was hard to get at that time. So I called and asked how much they wanted for it. And they gave me a price, and I said, I'm on the way. And that's when I called Corrupt's cousin, Dice. I called a few other people, and I called the police. The police said they would meet me there, but then they turned around, called me back, and said they can't, and told me don't go. I said, if I don't go, I'm probably not going to have a chance to get my equipment. They said it's dangerous. I said, I'll be okay. But I told them I wasn't going to go because I didn't want them to think I was going to go. I called Dice. He said, I'll meet you over there. But Dice was on to some other stuff. He was on like battle. Like, we're going to get there and something else going to go down. I was like, nah, I don't want that. I didn't want nothing to happen to anybody because of me. So I went by myself. I lied and told Dice, I'll call you when I get there. But I never called him. Not when I got there, at least. So I get there. I'm sitting in my car. I'm sitting outside. I'm looking at the address. And I kid you not. I'm looking at the address. And it's on Flamingo in Maryland for any of you that live in Vegas. And it's an insurance company. And so I called the number. I said, hey, what suite is it? He says, such and such. I say, bro, this is an insurance company. He said, we here. And I said, what the fuck? So I get my pow and I put it on my hip in the holster because I had a concealed permit. But I put it on the outside so it can be seen. And I go up to the door and I knock on the door. Now, the door is locked, you guys. Sorry, somebody else tried to call me. The door is locked. The guy comes to the door. He does this. We're closed. We're closed. I say, hey, I'm not here for insurance, bro. I'm here to get my shit. He said, what? He comes to the door. I just look down at my waist and he said, oh, I don't want no problems. He unlocks the door. He says, everything is in the back. I said, whoa, wait. What do you mean everything is in the back? He says, back there, you can go get it. I said, nah, I'm not about to do none of that shit. You can go back there and get my shit and bring it back. Bring it out here to the car. He said, I don't want no problems, bro. I just got out of prison. So I say, what? I say, do you own this business? He said, yeah. I say, bro, do you know that that's stolen shit? He said, I didn't know anything about it. A guy named such and such brought it. And another guy, and I say, bro, this is not good for you. If you just got out of prison, why would you involve yourself with some shit like this? And I said, I'm not going back there in the back. You can go get my shit and bring it out, right? And he said, okay, yeah, I'll do that. So I'm thinking that all of my stuff was there, but some of the stuff wasn't there. I got my mixer back, unbelievably, and I still have that mixer to this day. I got my mixer back. I didn't get my computer back with all my songs on it. I didn't get my camera back, my Rolex, and tons of other stuff I never got back. You know, probably about $60,000 worth of stuff I never got back. But I got some of it back that I didn't even expect to get back. But more so, what bothered me about that whole thing was these motherfuckers know what I look like, and I don't know what they look like. That shit bothered me. Imagine somebody breaking in your house, and there's a camera, and there's footage of you, and they know what you look like, but you don't know what they look like. Now, if that camera hadn't been there, they wouldn't have known what I look like, right? They wouldn't have known, but they must have watched it, because let me tell you what happened. So after I get whatever equipment that guy gave back to me, I say to him before I left, I say, just to let you know, I gave the police this address, bro, before I came here, so they know that my stuff is here. So I don't know what you're going to have to do. Whatever you got going on here, you probably want to fix it because they do have this address. Thank you for giving me some of my shit back. But, bro, if you just got out of prison, if I was you, whatever's going on, you need to change your shit up. And I get in my car and I drive away. 1 hour later, I get a call from this dude named Eric. And he probably still lives here in Vegas. And he knows what I look like, and I still don't know what this nigga look like. Now, I know I could have called around to this ninja. I still don't know what this ninja look like. I'm sure I could have called around town with all the people I know, and we could have summed it down to who the Eric is. But I didn't even deal with it, right? But after that, there was a string of burglaries on the southwest side of town, back to back. I mean, back to back. These dudes were going crazy. And some of them end up passing away from breaking in people's houses. Some of them end up not living. So for some reason, I just have this strong belief that that guy was probably one of the guys that's no longer alive, because that side of town, they were hitting the areas they felt like had a lot of money. I don't think he's alive. Now, let me tell you what happened an hour later when I took my equipment, whatever I had, I got back. I was surprised to get that big mixing console back and barely could fit it in the car. I get a call, and it's from this Eric dude. He said, yeah, man, what's up, man? Bring my shit back, man. I said, what you say? Bring my shit back. I say, bring what shit back? My equipment. I say, Ninja, that's not your equipment. That's my shit that you guys stole from my house. He said, we know what you look like. I said, I don't give a, come back here if you want. This is where you'll lay rest, and they'll be doing your funeral. Then come back to my house if you want. I dare you, and I'll be waiting on you. Come back if you want. I said, I promise you, brother, you will never, ever break into anybody's house again. I couldn't believe that this dude actually told me to bring my equipment back to him. He was upset that I put two and two together, and the universe and God led me right to the door to get my equipment. You remember what I said? I told the police, I'm probably not going to get my equipment back, but I'm going to find out who did this. Now, I don't know what made me say that, but there's power in words. I don't know what made me say that. I have no idea. But me saying it activated something that really happened. So the whole time I'm thinking, this dude knows what I look like. Stupid part about it, he called me from his home number. He called me from the home number making threats about me bringing back the equipment they stole from my house. Sounds like a movie, right? So the next day I called back and an older lady answered. And I said, is Eric there? She said, no, baby, this is his grandma. I said, grandma, listen, your grandson is a thief. She said, what, baby? I said, your grandson and his friends, somebody broke in my house and they took my equipment. And he called me yesterday and threatened that I bring the equipment back or else. She said, I said, yes, ma'am. Your grandson, grandma, broke in my house. She said, I said, I'm going to send you the text of the guy that texted me and told me who did it. And it was your grandson. And then ask your grandson about how he talked to me. So he calls me the next day, or I don't know if it was that day, about calling his, stop calling my house, stop talking to my grandma, telling her. And I hear his grandma in the back, give that boy his stuff back. I didn't raise you like, yo, it was the most ironic thing that has ever happened to me. The irony of that whole situation was weird. Of course, he didn't give me back my stuff, but he was bothered that I talked to his grandma, and she couldn't believe that he did that. And I loved it. I never got back my other stuff, but I told him, come up in my house again, and I promise you, I might just have your funeral in my house, because I'm gonna let some lead into you, and I'm gonna talk to you why I do it. Don't get it twisted. I'm just saying, I have to protect my home and myself. Of course, he never showed up. Him and the dudes, they never came back. But the point that there's a video of me that's very important to me in my career that I'll never get back from that time period. The only one I have is online of me performing, but just that whole trip was a very pivotal point in my career, and I don't have that. And then that guy and those guys, whoever they are, they know what I look like. And to this day, I'll never know what they look like unless I make some calls and have cats research, or cats say, I know who the Eric is. It can only be, because you know, the streets know. If I say I'm looking for Eric that's a thief, cats be like, oh man, I know that. I know that ninja. That ninja live right over there. He always stealing. So I could have done that, but I just left it alone. I had some cats that wanted to go and they wanted to go look for him, but I just left it alone because I already know. I just didn't want to deal with the karma of what would happen had my people went looking for that dude. It wouldn't have been a good situation. So I left it alone. But the fact that when people do that, and they know what you look like. YouTube is the similarities, right? It's like a person coming into your home, and I'm not saying, and I'm not being disrespectful. I'm saying I'm showing you the equivalent of YouTube and trolls versus a person breaking in your house. It's the same similarity. A troll will get on your channel and try to troll you, and you don't know what they look like. It's that same feeling you get when a person invades your privacy and takes something from you, and you don't know who took it. It's the same way content creators feel when people on YouTube, the trolls, do that. It's not a good feeling, you guys. But I've learned how to deal with the trolls because, once again, they're cowards. And it is what it is. Until a troll gets on camera and have a face-off with me, to me, they're always going to be cowards. And I don't care what they say, because most of them will never get on camera because they don't want to be seen, because they know once they're exposed, their face is exposed. So when people come in my comments saying stupid stuff that don't know me, acting like they know me, like there was a girl, somebody came on here and they did it like 3 times. And there's like, I know you. I've known you long. You don't know who this is playing games. If you know me, why are you on my live? Why not just call me? People that know me have my number. If you know me, like you say you do from the past, call me. Why not call me? Why not say who you really are? Because you don't know me. You're just doing what you do best, and that is being a super troll. And that's okay. Trolls should have one channel where they all go and troll each other. Now, that would be great. Why don't you guys just troll each other and have fun doing it? I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Why not troll each other, man? Right? Why not? Wouldn't that be fun? Like if all trolls came together and trolled each other? BB said, laughing out loud. BB, I'm serious. Think about it. Would it not be cool if trolls just created a channel? Maybe I'll create a channel called the Troll Channel. And I'll let trolls come in there and just all troll each other. I think that would be well worth it. I think that would be some good content. Let trolls come in and just let them talk shit to each other. And call it the Troll Channel. Hey, y'all, hey, welcome to the Troll Channel. You're allowed to say anything and do anything you want to do here, as well as troll each other. Welcome to the Troll Channel. I think I might just create a channel strictly for trolls. Let them just say, don't matter what they say. Just let them have edit with each other. Talk shit, do all kinds of stuff until they get tired. Like you sending a little kid outside to play. Because parents know once they go play, they're going to come right home and go to sleep. You see a troll, you got to just let them get the troll out of them. And then they get tired. They eventually get tired. These are people that never had a life. They were never nobody in school. I hate to say this. It's just like that Catfish stuff. I had this girl that was 350 pounds along with a comedian in Vegas. I'm not going to say who the comedian is. But this comedian is on radio in Vegas. And he talked this girl. This is what the girl told me. He talked this girl, this girl into trolling me. And she trolled me for some months. Acting like she was Puerto Rican, sent this picture like she was just fine. Yeah. She told me that he's the one that put it all together. Now, to this day, I don't know. I've never confronted him. I just saw him recently at a restaurant. One day I will pull him aside and talk to him like, bro, why you do that shit? But I was smart enough to put 2 and 2 together, and I just kept playing along with it, right? But I convinced this girl to come talk to me, and she was scared to talk to me. Now, within the trolling period, or the catfish period, this girl actually told me her dad passed away from a car accident. Her dad was a doctor, and her mom was an attorney. Oh, her story was crazy. She wanted to get married in Bora Bora. She was just having these conversations with me like she wanted to marry me in Bora Bora. It's like some made-up movie shit, right? And my friends, Dawn and Mike, they were a married couple. They were like, this is bullshit. I said, no, I'm just going to play along with it. So I played along with this, I think, for 2 or 3 months until I convinced this girl, because Dawn started finding numbers that led back to who the real person was. And Dawn said, I skip traced the number. And I said, well, what name comes up? So when the real name came up, one day I actually called the girl by her real name, and she got shocked. And I said, listen, I know your name is not such and such. I know your dad's not a doctor and your mom's not an attorney. I know somebody put you up to do this. Question is, who did it? So she said, oh, well, I said, come sit down and talk with me. I was trying to figure out a way to get her to come talk to me. So I said, listen, come talk to me. Come sit down and holler at me. I'm cool with you. I'm not gonna be mad at you. She said, no, because if you meet me, you're not gonna like me. I said, you don't look like that picture, do you? She said, no. I said, listen, I'm not gonna judge you. We can still be friends. I had to figure out a way to get her to come. I say, we can still be friends. I'm not gonna, if you don't look like your picture, it's okay. And honestly, I was still gonna be her friend though, honestly, because I feel like people that do that, it's some emotional shit they're dealing with, and it's some problems they gotta figure out. So I was still gonna be her friend. I really was. So I was like, okay, cool. Come by the house. She came by about 12:30 at night. She brought a friend with her. I remember she pulled up in front of the house. I look out the window and I just shook my head. This girl was probably like 350-pound white girl. I'm walking out to the car. I am who I am. So they're like, oh, you look just like your picture. Now, this was back in the 2000s sometime, maybe 2005 or something like that. This is after I went through my divorce. So I go out to the car. There's another girl in the car with her. So I'm looking at her and I say, what's up? How you doing? She said, I'm good. I say, so let me ask you a question. I said, why would you lie to me? Why not just present yourself as to who you were? She said, because, guys don't like me when once they find out that I'm big. And I said, well, it doesn't matter. It's okay to have friends, though. I would have still been your friend. Now, we probably wouldn't have dated. I was honest with her. I said, we probably wouldn't have dated, but I would have been your friend. I wouldn't have taken that away from you. If you had been just a good person, I would have remained your friend. But when you lie and you deceive people, this is not good. Why would you do this to me? I say to her. And she told me the comedian's name here in Vegas that put her up to doing it. Do you know that I was shocked because this comedian does tricks on radio here in Vegas. He does calls on people like that. When she told me that he was the one that put her up to do it, to this day, I've seen this dude through the years 3 or 4 times and never mentioned to him. And I know he has to know because I'm sure she told him. He found out it was all a lie. I went to his house and I told him everything. I'm sure she told him. To this day, I saw him about 3 months ago when I was at a restaurant. And he nodded at me and I nodded at him. We didn't have a conversation. But next time I see him, I'm going to pull him to the side and I'm going to ask him, yo, bro, why'd you do that shit? Why you do that shit? Like what? I know that was a long time ago. That was in 2006 or 7. But why do you fuck with people? I understand you do it on the radio. Did you record that shit live on the radio? Now it made me wonder, did he have me live on the radio? Because he would call people and do that shit. But he put that girl up to it and I talked to her and I said, listen, if a person's gonna be your friend, they're gonna be your friend regardless of how you look. Now, men have the kind of women they want to date. Women have the kind of men they want to date. But it doesn't mean that I wouldn't have been your friend. I told her I would have still been your friend, regardless. But because of the lie, I don't even know if I want to be your friend. But I appreciate you coming and being honest with me, showing me your face and telling me why this happened. So before the internet, this troll stuff was happening. So how you deal with the trolls is face on. Can't nobody hurt you with no words online. Doesn't matter what a person says. Now, I know we don't like people saying negative stuff about our names. And if you're a celebrity or somebody that's a public figure, it's not cool for your name to be used in a derogatory way, especially when it comes to lying. But we're not talking about other content creators banging on other content creators. We're talking about trolls who just come in and say some of the stupidest stuff. Like trolls, you got to ask yourself a question. Check your mental capacity. There's something wrong with you. Because if you got to get on somebody's page and say crazy stuff, there's 2 things happening. Either you're a very young person You're very young. It's just here's the facts. You're a young person that that's just you think it's funny and you have nothing to do, or you're an old motherfucker that's sad, sorry, and done and over with, or maybe you got mental issues. Third scenario, whatever the case may be, it's not normal. Now, when I go to people's channel, if I might watch a person's channel, I might not ever comment, but I would never get in their comments and say some stupid shit. I would never make up a page to troll people's page. You know, it's funny because I think about I hate bringing up my exes all the time, but I have to say this. My ex was a troll. She would create, and sometimes it might be her on here doing some shit, because she would create these fake pages and then troll me and say shit. And then she would turn around, somebody would troll her, and she would actually message me and say, quit sending me messages in my inbox. Like I got the time to send you messages, woman. If I wanted you, I'd still be with you. You hear what I'm saying? Like, so trolls are not just random people. They can actually be people that you know. Victory says, sad, broke, busted, and disgusted. A hater narcissist. Exactly. Victory. I'm trying to show that, Victory. For some reason, it blocked it, but I'm trying to allow it through your comment. I don't know why it blocked it, but I'm trying to. Victory said, sad, broke, busted, disgusted, and hater narcissist. Absolutely. Victory, that's an absolute fact. But how we deal with those trolls is we don't give it energy. Victory said, they were my neighbors wanting to rob us of our happiness. Yes, you can steal my son baby diapers. Wow, they stole your son baby diapers? Damn, that's real low. Damn. They needed diapers that bad? Oh, I love Johnny Guitar Watson. I got to meet Johnny before. Johnny was amazing. Yeah, so how we deal with the trolls. It's just like me, how I deal with other content creators. I won't mention their name. I might have the negative content creators, excuse me. I won't mention that person's name because the truth is, when you mention their name, you only give fuel to the fire. All you do is make a person want to go and search that person out. So I decide not to. My life is music. I don't have no concern with no negative content creator. Why? I make music for a living. Before anybody ever mentioned Stone's name online in a negative way, I was doing exactly what I was doing, making music. So why should I make now my life about going at another content creator? I'm not going to do it. There's power in silence. I don't have to go back. They'll tire out. They'll stop talking about me and they'll get tired of it because I'm not responding. The truth is, people want us to respond so that people can go, oh, there's a feud. Let's go over here. Let's go back to Stone. Let's go over, see what Stone's going to say. I'm not doing it no more. I'm not. I am not going to mention anybody's name unless they're a celebrity and I'm doing an album on them. Or if they're at my level and we're battling, we can get on the phone and talk to each other. There's no need for me to mention anybody's name that's negative towards me, that's on a lower level than me. You don't sit at the table with me, so I will not mention your name. And this, content creators, understand, this is what you're going to deal with. You're going to deal with it. When you get into this trying to create YouTube channels and you want to be a content creator, it's a lot of headache comes with this shit. It's a lot of headache that comes with this, man. It is. It's a lot of headache. And if you're the kind of person that can't deal with stress, this content creator crap is not going to be for you. It's not. And I'm just being honest. I know everybody's trying to get a bag, but this bag comes with headaches if you don't know how to stay grounded. Because I'm a Buddhist, I'm able to deal with certain stuff because I can break off into my meditation and get away from the madness. But other than that, it's like I'd have to deal with this head on. And you know, some people don't take stress well. Some people's only outlet to stress is alcohol and drugs. Well, I don't do either. So I only have meditation and chanting to solve a lot of my issues, and praying to God and meditating and chanting in my Buddhism. I only have that. That's all I have. I can't go drink because I don't drink like that. I don't smoke weed or nothing. I don't do any kind of drugs. So my only outlet is that truth and spirituality. That's how I'm able to get through everything you guys see me get through. That's how. It's all sincerity, man. It's the strongest gift that God gives us. The ability to be able to control self. I'm a master at self. Although there's times I allow myself to slip. Predominantly, I control myself. I'm in control of me because I think a lot. So when I see myself about to get upset, I can go back into that place of meditation within seconds and get myself under control so that I don't do something that I'm going to regret, so that I don't disrespect somebody that I love, so that I don't disrespect somebody that I've known for years, family member, friend. I woosah in that moment that I see that it's complicated, and it takes me right to that minute of me. I literally disappear in that moment to take myself back to the level of meditation so that I can gain control of myself and calm myself down. Chas Dredd said, I need to learn to meditate. Chase, sorry, Chase. Chase, let me tell you something, brother. And I say this from the sincerity of my heart. Chase, um, when you learn the art of meditation, nobody will be able to bend you at no level. Let me show you guys something, man. And I know I say a lot of crazy stuff, and I'm not making this up. Some of the people that know me, that's been around me for years, is right here on this live. I've had guns pulled on me, pow-pows pulled on me. For real. I used to own 3 cell phone stores. Let me share a story with you guys. 3 cell phone stores. There's some people in this live that came into my stores before. Those are my investments. My lounge, Stone Paxton Music and Life Jazz Lounge. You can look it up, Google it, it'll pop up. I just closed it recently. I'm going to open up another one. And my cell phone stores. I had 2 situations happen to me owning my cell phone stores through the years. This young man came in to get his phone fixed. I asked him one question like I ask everybody. My employee called me and said, we have a repair. So anytime there was a repair, I would have to come get those repairs for my store. I came in to get the repair. It was an unlock. I asked him one question, which I always have to ask. Is this phone stolen? Because the police came in my store and said, any stolen iPhones report to us. So I said, is this phone stolen? He says, absolutely not. He shows me a wad of money. Nah, man, I'm getting, I got my paper. He had his 2 girls with him like, nah, I gets the money. I said, all right, youngster, it's cool. I got to ask you the question, though. It's all good. I just need to know if it's stolen or not. He said, no again. I said, cool. Give me an hour and come back, or I'll call you. It'll be unlocked. I go through the process. I call Apple, set the unlock to go into action. Apple says to me, now you got to remember also, this unlock costed about $75 at that particular time. No, about maybe $120, right? At that particular time. I call Apple. I give them the IMEI number. They call me back 10 minutes later and they said, Mr. Paxton, this phone is stolen. It's unlocked, but it's not going to work because it's stolen. I think to myself, now I got to call this young dude and tell this young dude that this phone is stolen. Now, let me back up a little bit. Before this dude came in my store, 2 amazing things happened. This preacher walks in my store out of the blue. And he starts talking about spirituality, right? That was before that happened. And then I went home and got a call to come back and unlock it. 2 people came in my store before I left the first time. A preacher. And he comes in there and he's talking about spirituality. He's from Utah. He's talking about spirituality and God and faith and believing in things and the protection of God. And I kid you not, it was crazy. He just walked in and just started having that conversation, asking me about phones. As he was talking to me, this guy walks past who had just got out of prison. A lot of prisoners used to come in my store. I would give them free phones. Once they told me they just got out, I'd be like, you good? You need a phone? You got a phone? No, I don't. I would give them free service. I say, listen, this is my gift to you. You know, I'm going to pray that you stay on the straight and narrow. So this guy hears us talking about faith. He stops in the store. He happens to be going past, and he hears us talking. He stops in, and we get in this full-blown conversation about faith in God and spirituality and trusting in God and just believing in him and for everything, protection, life, peace, love. Then they leave. Then I go home. I get a call back from my employee for the unlock. I talk to the man like I told y'all, the young man. He leaves. Apple calls me back. Now I got to call this young dude. So first thing I called me when I'm on live. So I call him and I said, hey, young man, let me ask you a question. You remember I asked you a few questions before you left the phone? He said, yeah, why? What's up? I said, let me ask you again. You told me that the phone, before I could say wasn't stolen, he finished it. I said, you told me that the phone wasn't stolen. No, it's not stolen. I told you, you know what I'm saying? I told you it's not stolen, cuz. I said, all right, okay, cool. I said, well, we got a problem, cuz. I said, this phone is stolen. He said, so what does that mean? I say, well, it means it's stolen. So I'm really supposed to keep it and call the police, but I'm not going to do that. Just come get your phone. He says, so what's going to happen? I paid for it. I say, well, nothing's going to happen. You paid for it. It's unlocked, but because it's stolen, you can't. He said, well, what about my money? I said, well, you're not going to get your money back. I asked you clearly from the beginning if it was stolen. That way we wouldn't have even done it. He said, well, I'm going to need my money back. I said, come get your phone, sir, young man, please. He showed up. I was sitting down like this at my counter, and I showed him the phone. And I showed him the letter from the police department that states any iPhones that come in, call them so they can have a police be standing there when the person comes back to get the phone, right? Because iPhones are federal, considered federal. You steal them. I don't know why, but they are. So I say to him, I said, I'm supposed to call the police, but I'm not going to do it. Just, take your phone and go. He said, nah. He said, I'm going to need my money, though. I said, well, fam, you're not going to get your money. He said, oh, yeah? I said, nah, you ain't going to get your money. He said, okay, watch, we'll see. I'll be right back. So right when he said it like that, I already knew. I stand up and take my jacket off. He said, oh, you ain't going to need that. I say, nigga, I'm coming anyway. I say, ninja, I'm coming anyway. He starts running. And I'm like thinking in my head, why is this motherfucker running? He starts running. He hits the double doors. By the time I hit those double doors coming outside to follow him, because I didn't know if he was trying to say he wanted to fight me. So I'm headed outside, but I kind of felt like he was going to go get something. I'm thinking a stick or bat. So I follow him like, you ain't going to punk me out, right? As I hit the double doors, he'd have made it around the side of his car. He got a Glock 9 in his hand in the middle of broad daylight, 12 noon, on Craig in Decatur in Las Vegas, where my store was located. Now I'm at that door. I had committed to hit those double doors. So I knew if I ran back in that building, the spirit of that dark demon would have kicked into that youngster. That little ninja would have ran after me. So instead of me running back in the store, jeopardizing everybody, y'all know what I did? I walked up to him, came around the car with the gun in his hand, and I got real close to where if I had to disarm him with the gun, I could take it. Now I'm looking at the gun, and I see it's on safety. I started talking to him. I kept saying these words, youngster, this is unacceptable. I don't know what made me constantly say that same thing. I talked to this kid for 45 minutes, standing outside with a pow in his hand in front of Title Max next door to the building my store was in. Now, everybody in that title max knew me. So I'm saying things to him like this: young man, put that pow away, man. Listen, if the police show up, they gonna think me and you trying to hit up this spot here. They gonna pow to both of us. I said, fam, put it away. I said, put it away, man. Live another day, live to talk another day. Nah, nigga, you embarrassed me in front of my BITCHs. I said, I embarrassed you. I said, really, bro? I said, you brought a stolen phone in my store. I said, youngster, you brought a stolen phone in my store. I clearly asked you if it was stolen. You said no. So you mad because of what? Because I won't give you the money back there. The Apple's been paid. I don't make that much money off of those. Apple's been paid. They ain't paid. It's unlocked, but it's stolen. I kept saying youngster. And I don't know why I kept using the word youngster. Y'all, it just, the whole thing was crazy. I kept saying, youngster, put the pow away. I say, you at the crossroads. I say, you unlike me. You have no idea who I am. I said, it's not going to end for you today. I said, Ninja, it's not going to end for you today. You don't even know who you just pulled a pow on. Now, typically, I would have my gun on my hip. That day, it was in my car. So I say to him, I say, let me go get my pow and we can walk 10 pesos and turn around and whatever happens, happens. He say, nah, we don't do all that. We don't do all that. So I guess he was saying youngsters don't do that, right? So he didn't want me to go to my car to get mine. And I said, so you're going to sit here, so you're going to unlife me, then go to prison, and niggas in prison going to be like, yeah, what you here for, man? Yeah, man, I paid $75 for my unlock on a stolen phone and, pew, this ninja man over $75. I said, that shit going to look real cool, huh? I said, youngster, you at the crossroads. And I just kept saying that to him. I said, you at the crossroads, youngster? I say, put that away, man. Live another day, man. Come in the store and get your phone. Live another day. I talked to him for 45 minutes while the Korean folks watched, while other people walking in, standing right there in the middle of the parking lot. Nobody did shit. My life was on the line, and I never was scared. And I cannot explain to you guys why I wasn't scared. Maybe it was that conversation that preacher came in and that guy, and we had that conversation before. I was at peace. I would never be able to understand what happened that day. But whatever happened, happened. It was magical. And it was spiritual. So I kept calling this kid youngster over and over again. Towards the end of the 45 minutes that we had been standing out there, I said, listen, somebody's going to call the police. Youngster, put the gun away. Put the pow away. Somebody's going to call the police. These people behind you, next to us, know me. Now, he didn't point the pow at me, but he had it cocked and he had it on his side. I could have disarmed him. I could have disarmed him and slammed him to the sidewalk. He would have hit his head and went in a coma, and then it would have been on me, and I'd have to deal with that ninja's family and all them other ninjas coming up to my store, probably until that shit stayed open. It could have went bad for me too. So that moment, I was thinking about everything that I was dealing with. Within 45 minutes, my mind was running 100 million miles per hour, trying to make the right decision so that I wouldn't put this guy in a situation, neither put myself in a situation. So the only thing I had to work with was to talk to this guy and give him his whole life and what was going to happen if he pow-powed me right there in that parking lot. I said to him, if you pow me, you better make sure I'm gone, because if not, I'm gonna kill you. This is what I said to him. I said, yeah. I said I have no choice. If you do it, you better make sure you do it, because I'm gonna kill you. And I said, youngster, it don't have to be like this though, youngster. So then towards the end, I start seeing his spirit start to kind of marshmallow a little bit, y'all. That's the word I'm gonna use, because he started doing this. He started doing his head like this as I continued to say, youngster. He started going. I say, youngster, put the pow away and live another day to talk, to have a conversation. He started doing this with his head down. That's when I knew something I was saying was touching him. So then I asked him a question. I said, what's your name? He said, youngster. I said, no, no, no. I'm asking you, what's your name? He said, I said, youngster. The whole time I was calling this, I said, that's your real name? The whole time I was calling this dude's name and didn't know it, to show you the power of the spiritual element. I was calling his name the whole time, which is why it became personal as I'm talking to him. I'm calling him youngster, not knowing that was his real name. So he puts it away. He puts it in his car. I say to him, come in here and get your phone. He came in to get his phone. I walked him back out to his car. He gets in the car. He starts to back up. I am walking into the building. He said, OG. I turn around. I said, what's up? He said, man, I just want to say, man, you got heart, man. I said, don't do that shit to me, youngster. This wasn't about me today. This was about you. Because had it been another person, you probably wouldn't be here. God put me here to talk to you, to give you another chance. I hope that today is a learning lesson for you, because you can't go around pulling pow-pows on people like this in broad daylight and at all. So this wasn't, don't pump me up and say I had heart, because no, this was not about me having heart. God sent me to you to teach you a lesson. Now I'm going to tell y'all something else is going to blow your freaking mind. This is crazy. So the next day, I'm driving down Craig Road. Martin Luther King Boulevard. I just crossed Cheyenne. For all of you that are from Vegas, you'll know that area. Right as I crossed the light, there's a Chevron on the right-hand side. Y'all see how vivid my memory is? This was back in 2009 or 10. I crossed Cheyenne on MLK. I look to my fucking left. I say to the person, I was with my friend that was from LA, Lucy. She was here in town. I was in her SUV. I was driving the SUV. She was in the passenger side. She knew about the story. I say to her, oh my God, that's the dude that pulled the pow-pow on me. I look to my left. I roll my window down. I'm trying to get his attention. Like I'm saying, what's up? Right? I'm like, hey, I rolled with, hey. He looks at me and he hits that gas. And I might be exaggerating, but it seems like that motherfucker was doing 200 miles per hour. What was the message in that, you guys? What was the message in that? Man, if God wasn't trying to tell that young dude, if God was not trying to use the universe and me to preach to that young dude, then I don't know what. If that young dude is not changed to this day, then it's a travesty, because God was working to change that young man. He looked at me and realized it was me and hit that gas like he had saw a ghost. Now, had the scenario, had it been one of my older brothers or some other dudes I knew, he would have been unlife right there on the spot. But see, I think that's why God was dealing with him. I wanted him to know that you got to be careful who you step on. This guy right here, Mr. Paxton, could have unlifed you and you would have never known you were gone. All you would have remembered is him pulling up and bam, that was it. That sound crazy, right? That happened, y'all. The story sounds like something out of a book or a movie. Guess what, you guys? It happened. Not made up. Real deal story that happened to me. Twice in my store, I had people pull guns on me. And every time I didn't pull my gun on them and I didn't have it because it was in my car, it was in my store put up. I spoke to them just like I'm talking to you guys. Now, I've gotten into fights in that store where I've had to fight two guys at once. That wasn't nothing. I did what I had to do. And then they came back and brought 12 guys with them, lied and said 4 guys beat them up when it was just me fighting 2 guys that tried to start shit with me. But the guns, the pow-pows were like, yeah, that was crazy, y'all. That's a real story, you guys. That happened to me. And to this day, I think about that young man. I think about that young man and I think, did he take what happened and changed his life. When he saw me the day afterwards, what are the odds of me running into somebody that pulls a pow pow on you? At that time, there were 3 million something people in Vegas. What are the odds of that guy and I running into each other the next exact day? I hope he took that lesson and ran with it. I hope that young man took that and ran with it and remembered that and changed his life. Because if not, then he's no longer here, for sure. Because you can't go around pulling pow pows on people. And I knew he must have done this a lot. He had no problem. It was cocked, but he had the safety on it. I don't think he knew he had the safety on personally. Yeah, this is a real story. I had to look at what God was doing for me in that moment too. What is it? What kind of message was he sending to me for me to be put in that situation? Let me tell you what I think it was. When that preacher came into my store and talked to me, my spirit was calm. Now, I told you guys, when I hit the double doors and saw that guy had the gun, I couldn't turn around and run. When I saw he had the pow pow, I couldn't run. I knew. I already knew. I grew up seeing it in Chicago. I knew if I had ran, it would have fueled the dark demons in his spirit. He would have chased after me. I didn't run. I walked right up to him, and he actually did this. When I walked up to him, he did like, I know he was thinking, this ninja crazy. Who walks up on a guy with a loaded pow pow? And I started talking to him. When the police finally came, it was way after he had left. And they asked the most stupid question I've ever had anybody ask me. Why do you think he didn't shoot? I said, wow. What a stupid question. Well, everybody says that the pow pow was, I said, yeah, I talked to him. And then one officer told me, it never, usually when they pull that on you, it's hard to de-escalate. That's amazing. I said, not when you believe in God and you have the power of spiritual on your side. See, I wasn't afraid. I believe if I was afraid, I had no time to be afraid. I'm going to be honest with you. I had no time to be afraid. I had no time to be afraid. I take no credit for trying to be tough. I wasn't tough at all. It wasn't about me being tough, but the honest truth, I had no time to be afraid. Everything happened so quick, it gave me no time to be afraid of that moment. I had to live in that moment. And whatever was going to happen, you guys, I was prepared to deal with it. Whatever was going to happen, I was prepared to deal with it one way or the other. But at that moment, God spoke to me to speak to that kid. At that moment, the universe was working in my favor to soothe this kid's mind and spirit. And it was a delicate situation. I will never forget that. That will go down in my history as one of my most memorable moments. Just like the time when I was young and my older brother had me doing stupid stuff and gives me a sawed-off pow-pow and told me to go outside, and because somebody was pow-powing at the house, at one of my mom's house she owned, my older brother gave me a sawed-off pow-pow, told me to go around the side of the house and pow-pow into the bushes. Do you see how, and because I don't tell these stories, it's a lot of stories about me a lot of people don't know about. Can you guys hear me still? Can you guys hear my voice? Let me know if you can hear my voice. Okay, cool. I think about my older brothers. There's only a few things that having 6 brothers who are caught up in the streets. I didn't grow up no privileged life. I want you guys to understand that. All of my brothers was knuckleheads and gangsters in the streets doing all kinds of fighting, and my brothers fought together. So when you had to fight the Stewart brothers or the Paxton brothers, you had to fight everybody at once. That's how my brothers roll. You wasn't gonna fight one of them. You was gonna fight all of them. But my brothers trying to make sure that I was going to be tough, because maybe they felt like in the future I needed certain things I needed to have with me so that I can protect myself, because they knew I was a band geek. The only thing I had was martial arts and boxing. But they wanted to make sure I had that other stuff too. So when I had to deal with situations that I never knew I was going to come encounter with, I knew how to handle them. My brothers taught me that. But because of what they taught me, also could have got me caught up. Think about that. Think about, had I hit somebody with that pow when they had me doing that, where I would be. I wouldn't even be talking to you guys right now. I probably would have been, I definitely would have been locked up, and my life would have taken a whole nother turn. Because most of my brothers have been in and out of prison. I have a brother that's in prison now. He won't get out until he's 75 years old. For killing someone. For unlifing someone. Yeah. So I know firsthand. So all I know firsthand is, all I've seen all my life is half the time at my aunt's house, living in a very conservative neighborhood. I went to mostly all white school all my life, but then on the weekends, I'd be in the ghetto at my mom's. So there's this little balance that happened with me. I had to learn both ways of survival, not knowing that's what my brothers were trying to teach me. But I think back, if my brothers had not given me certain stuff, can you imagine that day when the dude pulled the gun? If I had been really, really scared, he probably would have unlifed me, because I would have ran in fear for my life. But because of certain things my brothers taught me, and being in these situations more than once and twice, and that day that preacher came in prepared me for that guy. I didn't know. I was being prepared, because typically I would fight people. Typically that would have turned into a fight that day. I was headed outside to fight dude because he made this threat to me. So I was like meeting him head to head, like, all right, let's go. Following me while I'm on my live. It's really starting to piss me. Following me while I'm on my live. It's really starting to piss me off. I'm gonna have to get another phone, go to Apple and buy another phone to make sure that the do not disturb works, because this shit is not working. And people just seem to, when I go on my live, they just call. But once again, the preacher coming in prepared me for that moment. Me not knowing that I was being prepared. Because once again, I'll say, typically I'm ready to rock. Like if a person threatens to fight me, I usually don't back down. Now I won't, I'm not saying I'll go with the fight at first. At first I might be like, nah, man. But when there's a direct threat, like, oh, watch this. Just hold on. I'm like, oh, you threatening me. And I'm like, let's go. So that day, when I went outside, I was prepared for whatever. I didn't know what it was. I really just thought he was making a threat. I didn't know he was going to pull a pow-pow. But because the preacher had spoken to me, my spirit was so at calm. So when I spoke to that young dude, I spoke to him in a calm manner. Javen, it's wild, ain't it? Man, listen, that pow-pow he had was a beautiful one too, man. It was silver, chrome. It was beautiful. I'll never forget it, man. With black trimming. It was a beautiful piece. But this is what he said to me. I asked him, I say, you really? I say, you gonna pull out a pow on me, bro, and you gonna unlife me right here? He said, you disrespected me like a man, so I'm gonna unlife you like a man. So I say to him, I say, so that's being a man? When you unlife another man, that's being a man, really? I said, wow, let me go get mine right there, and we can do the OK Corral here and walk 10 pesos, bro, and may the best man draw. He said, nah, we don't do that. So he wouldn't let me go to my car, which is right there in the parking lot, and get mine. So I just said, the only piece of weapon I have now is my conversation, my mouth, what God gave me. And I talked to him until his spirit started to feel what I was saying. And he walked away and I walked away. I just hope he walked away with the real reason this thing happened was not for Stone. This was for him. It was God interceding in him before somebody else put him down in a real way. Because had it been somebody else, they probably wouldn't have even allowed it. They would have just put him down. Me, I had a lot to lose, so I have to be careful with my approaches with situations. Life, you guys. You know, we all have choices. There's some young man right now, I hope he's coming across my channel, who's making the wrong decision, hopefully he hears my story and he makes a change from the way that he is. These young men these days are completely turned up. They don't think until after something is done. Then they're crying, Mama, and if I had another chance. Think 10 times before you do something and you probably won't do it. And if you love freedom, prison is no place for no man. I don't give a fuck how tough a person thinks he is. If you talk to my brother right now, he'll tell you if he could redo it, he wouldn't do it the same way again. He would choose his freedom. Everybody's tough until they get locked up. And then they got to deal with the real tough motherfuckers. And that's not a life to be locked up like an animal. That's not living. There's nothing about that that's cool. There's nothing about it that's cool. You're with a whole bunch of men locked up, and that's your life. There's nothing about that that says capital KOOL on it. There's nothing about it that's cool. And it never will be cool. A whole bunch of men in a cage, bound up in a gladiator spirit-like atmosphere. May the best man survive kind of shit. Well, you already know what's going to happen. The weak are going to suffer. There's nothing exciting about that. That's why I be telling cats, think before you do shit. If you want to be in prison, then go. Good luck. Because that's not living. And God definitely don't want it. That's not where he wants us to be. But man loves us to be there because that's a money-making business. So I tell all my homies, yeah, well, you can only be so tough until you got to pay the piper. I tell my older brothers, you can only be so tough until you have to pay the piper. When I get letters from my brother and he say to me, I supposed to be your example, you ended up being my example. Do you know how that broke my heart down? When my older brother said that, I supposed to be your example, you end up being my example of what I should be doing right. That broke me down. My brother will be 75 years old when he gets out. He went in at 40 years old over some stupid shit that he could have walked away from. Yeah. So, I mean, you know, life is our lesson. You guys, life is our lesson. I learn every single day. But more so, I learn about how to deal with myself. And anytime I see that there's an issue with my friends or my family, I cut them off. I don't even deal with my family. Listen, I tell people all the time, if I got to argue with my family, I ain't fucking with them either. If I got to argue with a woman that's supposed to be my woman, I ain't fucking with her either. I'm cutting her ass off too. I don't care who it is. Because the thing is the only thing you have is that peace. And if you can't have that peace, then you have nothing. You might as well be locked up in prison. You might as well be locked up. I just gave advice to this young man that hit me up on Facebook. And he's trying to change his life. And he said, Stone, they're trying to send me away. They're trying to say I'm gang affiliated. I went through his Facebook and I said, do me a favor. Take all those pictures of those pow-pows you're holding on your Facebook in your hand. Take them down. I said, the district attorney will use that against you. He said, they're already doing that. That's what my attorney was saying. I say, see, you got to be ahead of the game, man. If you say you change, you got to show that change, man. If you say you change, you got to show the change. Because now you're crying that you want your life. Now you're worried about being sent away and you're not going to be around your kids. See, there's a lot of guys, a lot of black men especially, and I say this because I see it a lot in our community. They'll talk a gang of stuff. When the police come, it's yes, sir, no, no, sir. How many times have you guys seen that with our black men in our community? They'll talk shit they'll be at a spot talking gang, fuck that, fuck the popo, fuck now, let them show up, man. As soon as the police come, yes, sir, no, sir, yes, sir, no, sir. And I always laugh at that because where is that? I respect the cat, just keep it gangster. Even when they pull up, keep it gangster. Even if they beat you down, keep it gangster. You fight back, keep it gangster. But if you're tough, you're tough. And if you want to be a gangster and you want to live that lifestyle, then there's a place for those kind of people permanently. Now, don't get me wrong. If you mess with the wrong people and they fuck you up, that's just how it goes. But if you're just a person out here wilding out doing fucked up shit, then you deserve to be where the tough guys like to be. Obviously, lifers. Oh, they got the real tough stuff for you. They gonna, yeah. Trust me, my brother, when I talk to him, he just tells me all the stuff that he's still having to fight. Not as much anymore in prison. He's had to knock a lot of people out. But the fact that he's supposed to be doing his time in peace, now he's in there. And they know he's OG now. They ain't really messing with him. But in the beginning, he was fighting all the time because they knew he could fight. Because all my brothers fight. But he put himself in a situation that now he might not even make it to 75 years old. And then when he's out, most of his brothers and sisters will be gone. He'll just have his grandkids who will be adults by then. And he'll barely know them. So choices, you guys. Had I had my pow on me that day, that young man would have been, I hate to say it, unliked. I was in my business. I stepped outside. If I'd had my pow on me, he would have been unliked that day. I would have been in the right. There would have been nothing wrong about what I did. But I would have to have then dealt with his family. And I asked him where he was from, and he told me LA. So I would have had to deal with his family coming to Vegas. That let me see who this ninja is that unlike my nephew, unlike my little brother, unlike my son. I'd have to deal with that. It wouldn't have ended for me there either. I would have continued to have to deal with that even if I was protecting myself. That's what I told him too. It's not going to end well today if you do that. Not for me or you. Okay, you guys, listen, I was supposed to have Gene Anderson, Poo Poo Man, on my live. I got to go pick him up. I don't know if we're going to do the live today. I think I'm going to pre-record it. And then maybe tomorrow post it. I don't know. I'll do a short video talking about it to let you guys know what I'm going to do. But I was supposed to have picked him up at 12. But he wasn't ready. He was still asleep. He called me back, told me he'll call me whenever he's ready. So I think I'm just going to do live record it and then post it because there's so much about him that I think I want to split up into part 1 and part 2 to give to you guys. So I don't know if I'm actually going to do it live. I'll keep you posted. But listen, I appreciate you guys. And I appreciate you guys listening to me, man. I know I'll be running my mouth and y'all be like, that's Stone. Get Stone started. Stone going to run his mouth, man. But thank you for giving me an outlet to share some of the things that I've been through. Thank you for allowing me to share my life with you and some of the things that I've dealt with and trying to help younger people not make some of the mistakes that people have made endangering my life, you know, and then the decision I had to make as an older guy not to do something stupid that could have caused me even to go to prison. I possibly could have done that and went to prison even though I was protecting myself. We don't know. I appreciate y'all, man. Scorpio, I don't know who else donated. I just know we had a lot of donations. I had a couple donations today. Thank you to Scorpio and whoever else donated. No, Scorpio donated, the only one. And she also donated memberships. Thank you, Scorpio. We love you for standing strong and supporting this channel. Thank you to CC. And thank you to Cambodian Mystique. and everybody that comes on there. Leanne, Javon, Malara, Chase, thank you. I appreciate you. If not subscribed, follow me. P, Victory, BB. Thank you, BB, for stopping in. Urban Media, always love when you're here. Appreciate you always. Oh, Scorpio said, was talking to you guys, okay. Oh, somebody else just donated. Who just donated? Scorpio donated another $20. Y'all see what I'm saying, man? Listen, I feel lucky. I feel lucky because I feel blessed to have the support I have from somebody like Scorpio. If I had 10 Scorpios, y'all, oh, we could do some crazy stuff. We could do some crazy stuff because I plan on traveling to different states and interviewing other people and doing some cool things. But if I had 10 Scorpios, I just appreciate the one I got. So they don't make them like Scorpio. Thank you, Scorpio. I appreciate everybody that's come on my live today. I will check back in with you and let you know what we're going to do with Gene Anderson, a.k.a. Poo Poo Man. Peace and love. Happy Sunday. And love to all of you guys, man. And I'm out.